Danielle Smith from 770 CHQR joining us this morning. Good morning, Danielle.
Good morning.
All right, so are cuts the way to go when we hear about so many people struggling already?
Absolutely. I think that Rachel Notley is really misplaying this message, because part of the reason I would argue that she didn't get a second mandate is she had tried to put herself cast in the mold of Peter Lougheed. And Peter Lougheed was indeed a progressive premier, but Peter Lougheed never ran a deficit budget. When you look at Saskatchewan, part of the reason Roy Romano was successful, or part of the reason Gary Doer was successful in Manitoba, both NDP leaders, is because they understood how important it was in conservative-minded provinces to show fiscal restraint. And so I think that that's part of I don't think she's learned the lesson of why it is she failed to get a second mandate. And she should be much more constructive. I think that the Premier has gone a long way to protecting the two areas that he heard that most Albertans wanted to be protected, which are education and healthcare. What that does mean is that there's going to be deeper cuts in some of those other program areas. But when you put it into the context, a 3% cut over 3 years. I mean, if you ask most business executives, most private industries, what they've had to do over the last 5 years, they probably had to they could probably make a 3% cut overnight. So I think that if she tries to rally people up, and if the union leaders try to rally people up on the basis of fighting the Premier's agenda, I don't think you're going to get much support from regular taxpayers. Regular taxpayers have had a lot of pain in their personal lives, in their own businesses, in their own households in the last 5 years. And a 3% cut is pretty darn modest.
When we are talking about unions and jobs, what about more job losses?
I think that what the Premier has in mind is to create an environment where we can start attracting businesses back here and create more jobs. I mean, that's always been the unique Alberta way and the unique Alberta model, is that rather than trying to squeeze more money by raising tax rates on an existing and shrinking base of businesses, have a more modest tax rate so that you attract more businesses here so that they employ more people and you can earn more income that way. It's going to be much harder. We've had 5 years of stagnation. Certainly haven't had a federal government that's been supportive of our industry and expanding it. And so if some of those things start turning around, that's the model that we can pursue. But in the meantime, it sounds to me like they're not anticipating that. They're not anticipating to get bailed out by an expansion of resource revenues this time. That means there's only one way to do it. You got to bring your spending back in line with the revenues that you do have. And I think we'll begin to see the plan and how it's going to shape out over I guess, before the end of the day.
All right. Thanks so much, Danielle.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And you can listen to Danielle starting at 9:30 on 770 CHQR.